I did a huge amount of work this Easter on food education with both our children and our adults when they came to the open days at each camp. So in previous camps, I have set up food experiments. I've invited the parents to come and learn about sugar. And the reception to that has actually been quite tough of trying to catch parents at breakfast. They're like, just take my children, I'm in a hurry, I'm going. They weren't that receptive to coming and sort of learning and it feeling really schooly and almost being told off about their food. So this time, in partnership with Sharon Goodyear, this is definitely not all me. She is our food guru, she is our food advisor for this project. I came up with an idea about small group working with the children and the parents, and I devised a food quiz with Sharon. I definitely can't take all of the credit for this at all. I need to say a huge thank you to Chloe Wattler as well, who's doing a science degree at Portsmouth University, because she really got the ethos of this at Silvers and did a lot of the work there for me. She really got behind what I was trying to do with this. So I am actually going to run through kind of the answers and the questions that came up from it. By having this quiz, the parents and the children, if they could fill it out independently, and then I started a discussion group about the answers and we came together and we marked them. The younger children were supported by an adult, and some of the questions I weren't expecting them to get the right answer. We got some really funny ones about how things cost of like £3 million, but that's to be expected. The age of the children or parent is on there as well, so a 4-year-old's answers, we weren't expecting everything to be perfect. But it was really eye-opening. It was quite shocking actually that things for me, I've got a level 3 nutrition certification. I've been working as a personal trainer for 20 years. So things that are almost quite obvious to me that I expected people to know, they didn't. And this has been so important for me moving forward in the HAF project and food education about what is missing, what is people's education missing from school, and how can we help as a project with that. So I'm going to post the questions on Facebook so you can have a go at the quiz, and don't watch this video if you haven't done the quiz yet, because I'm about to tell you the answers. So our first question was a warm-up. And it says, is tomato a fruit or a vegetable? And it was just a kind of thinking, it's a pub quiz question, isn't it? Of a tomato is a fruit because it's got seeds inside. But there is an argument it's a fruit and a vegetable. We had some super smart children that told me that it can be classed as a fruit and a vegetable. But it is a fruit because it has seeds inside. The next one was a thinking question on name 5 orange fruits or vegetables. Now there are 2 obvious ones. Carrot and orange are the obvious ones. I would say most children, I gave them half a point for this, could do carrot or orange. And then you have to think outside a box a bit. And what this was telling me was, have they been exposed to different types of fruit and vegetables? This is something that we are going to have to start bringing into camp of like introducing things that are different colours. So different options you could have had for your 5 are smaller oranges, so tangerines, satsumas, clementines, tomatoes and peppers can come in orange. Pumpkin was a really good answer, some of the children got that. Mango, some more unusual fruits in there. So it was possible to get to 5, but lots of people struggled with that. This next question is a huge shock for me. What does calcium do and where do we get it? Only 3 or 4 of our children out of the hundreds of these that I did could tell us that answer. It's obviously something they've missed at school and something that felt quite obvious to me. So calcium comes from milk and dairy products. Nobody told me that you can get it from green leafy vegetables. Nobody told me that you could get it from broccoli, green leafy vegetables as well. And it helps you have strong bones and teeth. So that was actually a big shock for me of the children just generally didn't know that at all. Next one, what's a dried grape called? It's a raisin. And then This is another one that really flagged up. One of our parents is a nurse, and she watched me doing the small group work, and she was really concerned that the parents didn't know the right answer to this. And so I definitely need to be doing some work on food plate. What should your plate look like? The NHS has loads of information out there of each plate of food you eat. Your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner should have a certain proportion of fruit, vegetables, and your different food types. So this is definitely something coming into summer holiday. Every child is going to know the answer to this one. So on a healthy food plate, how much of it should be fruit and vegetables? And this is for your breakfast, lunch, and your dinner. Half of your plate for every meal should be fruit and vegetables. Name 3 healthy carbohydrates and how much of it should be on your plate. Now, a quarter is the right answer. If you're looking at that NHS guideline healthy food plate, a quarter of every meal should be carbohydrates. A question that came up from one of the adults is, are carbohydrates healthy? And this comes from Slimming World, a lot of the diet plans that get you to cut your carbs, saying that carbs are making you fat. And I'd say that's one of the most failing diet myths of carbohydrates give you energy, they fill you up. They are important. It's important to eat them, but it's also important to control your portion size. And so your healthy carbohydrates, your basic ones, are pasta, rice, potatoes, couscous, things that fill you up, but you want a quarter of it on your plate. You don't want to be looking at your whole plate being pasta. Most of it should be fruit and vegetables. Next question is, how much would it cost approximately to cook a roast dinner for 2 adults and 2 children with meat and 3 vegetables? So obviously this was an estimate. I had lots of people arguing with me of like kind of it depended on how much your meat was. But my kind of basic answer roundabout that I was looking for is £5. And the reason for that is, if you were to get a roast chicken, they tend to be kind of £3.50 to £4. Obviously, other meats can be more expensive. A bag of potatoes you can get for £1, but for 4 people, you're not going to be using the whole bag. So if you accounted 25p for that, a bag of carrots, you're looking at about 35p. But again, you're probably not going to use the whole bag of carrots for a roast dinner. So if we were looking at 15p for that, we're still going around about the £4.50 mark. And then cabbages are cheap, aren't they? You can get a whole cabbage for 30p. Frozen peas are always really good value, probably for about 75p. You could have some peas in your freezer. And again, you're just going to be using a couple of cupfuls, aren't you? So probably about 20p. So the answer I was looking for was £5 for that one. And then this was interesting because the children knew the answer to this one. How much would a McDonald's cost for 2 adults and 2 children? And the reason I was asking this question and why it was really important for this to come up in discussion is, again, it depends what you order. There is some flexibility in this, but kind of an adult McDonald's meal is about £5. A children's one is £3. So for 2 adults, 2 children, it's going to be at least £16 if you've got no extras, and probably realistically, it's going to be up to £20. And the reason I wanted to start this as a discussion was, if a family was eating McDonald's, which is by far your cheapest takeaway you can get. If you were looking at Chinese food or kebabs, you're probably taking that price up to £30 for one meal. And your roast dinner being £5. If somebody had ordered 2 McDonald's in a week, that would be saving them. So that would come to like £32. Your 2 roast dinners or home cooked meals would have cost £10. You're saving throughout the month. You could be looking at saving anything between £100 and £120 over the month by just not having takeaways and cooking yourself. This was a really important question. I wasn't expecting the little ones to know the answer. Some of them said it was going to be £3 million. We had some wonderful answers. That's absolutely fine. But it was just that thought of what could I be saving? We talked about having some cupboard food. So when you're in a hurry, things haven't gone to plan. What could you have in your cupboard? Can you have some rice? Could you have microwave rice in there? Could there be frozen vegetables in your freezer? Just that there was something quick, something healthy. Could you have a can of tuna in there? So maybe that instead of quickly going to McDonald's and spending £15, that you could make a tuna pasta with sweet corn, and just do something that was quick and easy, but would be so much less in cost for your family and more nutritious at the end of the day. And something like this could be the breaking point of why someone's universal credit hasn't stretched to the end of the month, that just taking those takeaways out could help make their money last. Equally, this would be a point as well of, if I was talking to adults, by signposting to Our Kitchen. They are an amazing shop in Margate and Ramsgate, where you can buy fresh, healthy fruit and vegetables for a fraction of the cost that you could get them in a supermarket. So that was definitely a point of which I could use the signposting of, by going to Sharon. She sells meal kits, does lots of educational programs within the shop as well. That it'd be a way of just making your universal credit stretch. This was a wonderful suggestion from Sharon. I can't take credit from it. Our next two questions are about poo. It was brilliant. It made the children laugh. They like thinking about poo, and it really kind of engaged them into this. But proper nutritionalists look at people's poo to see what they're eating. There is science behind this. This wasn't just a joke. So the question was, what happens to your poo if you are eating enough fibre? Basically, it floats to the top of the toilet. What you're looking for, if you're eating enough fibre, which comes in fresh fruit and vegetables, and eating whole grain and whole meal, you get a long, smooth poo long, smooth poo that's all in one piece, and it floats to the top of the toilet. It was interesting. Most of the children said that it would give you diarrhea or an upset stomach, that they saw fibre as being something bad that was going to do something negative. Again, showing me that I've got some work to do on that education. It seems to be the small bits that they didn't seem to know of their nutrition. And then my next question was, can you draw a poo if you aren't drinking enough water? The children were keen to draw a poo. I think we often tell them off for doing this. It was just like, can you do this? They were like, you really want me to do this, Tasha? It really was quite a bit of fun at the end of my quiz. It made the adults laugh as well. Basically, your poo, if you are not drinking enough water, will look like rabbit poo. It's small balls that I was looking for. But it was also adding in a bit of humour with a serious note in beneath it. But this was really, really interesting. You can see I have done hundreds and hundreds of these. Now, the last bit of this video is, what was really interesting is most of the results, if you're comparing yours, because I want you to do it before you watch this video, most of the results, people were getting 3.5, 4 points out of 10. It wasn't very good. But we had a few children that did an amazing job. One of our highest scorers was Billy James. Billy James is 6, and he gets one-to-one support at camp for his autism. But he has also been with us since the beginning. So he has been every day to summer camp, he has been to Christmas camp, he's been February half term, and he's been at every single lesson and every bit of teaching we've done, whether it's been with hula hoops and bean bags. Billy James knew the answers. It was wonderful watching him when we'd watched some of our older children struggle. And he got 6.5 points of, he knew about milk and calcium. He knew what his poo was supposed to look like. So this was something to us of, who was listening. One of our younger children as well is Ella. She's 6 as well, and would have been in Billy James's group of summer holidays. She's another child that hasn't missed a day, and she got 7 points on her quiz and was assisted by one of our adults, but knew the answers. So this made me really happy. So all of the food education work we were doing, my little ones were listening, where some of my teenagers were not. This one, she's a smarty pants. She's 11. Sienna Simpson, again, has been with us since the beginning. She is 11. She got one of our highest scores of, kind of 9. Yes, 9. So one of our highest. She scored a prize for that one. We had a mum that was Heidi Goodall that did really good job and got 9. The other highest score of 9 was a boy called Reese. Again, Reese is 13, so he is older. But again, he has been to camp every single day since the summer holidays. And again, he scored 9 of one of our highest marks. We've got Poppy, who's one of ours as well, who, Poppy's 6, but again, has been with us the whole time. So it was just really interesting that the people that did know the answers have been coming to camp. So they have learned something, they've been listening. There were some teenage children that I wanted to do better than they did that apparently weren't listening or had forgotten because they've learned other stuff. But that is okay. But this was my feedback. Food education is really, really important to us as part of the HAF project. It's something I take very seriously. One of the directors of my company is Sharon Goodyear. We home cook food on site. We are cooking with the children. We want to do better. We want to help our parents save money. So this was a big part of our teaching this Easter. I delivered it personally. I learned a lot. It was really good fun, and it was just a really good way of teaching without preaching. It was a way of finding out and getting the parents to talk to me about their struggles and sharing rather than me telling them off. So it's definitely something that really worked and something I'll be looking at doing again. And it has also shown me what I need to be teaching in my work in the summer holiday.